All right, everyone. So, our next topic we're going to be talking about is portion control. And portion control is really, really important when we are talking about food service. Portion control is really so important because it helps us control over or under portioning. And over and under portioning can be tied to costs, and it can also be tied to, particularly for school nutrition, making sure students are getting the correct nutrition. So when your portion runs over, so when you portion too much, you run the risk of running out of food. And if you underportion, you aren't really giving people what they paid for. And in terms of school nutrition, you're really not giving the students the proper nutrition. There are a lot of ways that you can use portioning methods in food service. You can count the number of pieces. So, for example, the number of pieces of chicken. So, if you're serving chicken strips or chicken tenders, you would count and know how many pieces were supposed to be served for a portion. You can also use pre-portioned containers so that the container might be marked with the portion amount and you are just filling it to that line so that you're making sure you're giving the correct portion. You can use portion rollers, which are a sort of an expandable roller that helps you cut things like brownies and cakes, but can also be used on things like lasagna to cut that and portion it properly. And you can also use implements like scoops. And so you can think of a scoop as like an ice cream scoop. It actually is. It just looks exactly like an ice cream scoop. Ladles are also tools that can be used for portioning. And one of my favorite things, a spoodle. So a spoodle is sort of a roundish spoon. It typically has sides on it. And a spoodle can come solid or can have perforated bottom so that liquid can drain out of it. So I just love the name of Spoodle, and one day, if I ever get another dog, I might just name them Spoodle, just because I think it's really fun. So here's your Easter egg or your hidden treasure for this particular slide set. If you put the slide set in view mode, so you're watching in PowerPoint mode, and you click on this picture, you will be directed to a video from the program called Making It Count. And if you can recognize anybody in that video and email me the name of who it is that you recognize, you will get an extra point on your quiz for this week, for this slide set. So for the portion control slide set. So again, if you put this in slide view, presenter view, and click on the picture that's on this slide, you'll be taken to a video which runs about 15 to 18 minutes. And if you can tell me that you recognize someone in there and who that person is, email it to me. You will get an extra credit point on your quiz. So good luck hunting. So scoops are really a vital tool in food service, and we see them in commercial food service, and we also see them a lot. I see them in kitchens in school nutrition. So scoops come in different sizes, and oftentimes the scoops are colored, and so they're different color codes. The color codes aren't really standardized across the size of the scoop. It really depends on the manufacturer. Um, but this chart indicates the numbers and then the volume measure that goes with that size. So the number of the scoop and then the volume measure that goes along with it, that is standardized. So a number 40 scoop will always have the capacity in ounces of 3/4 of an ounce. So another thing to keep in mind with regards to scoops is that the scoop number is reflective of the number of scoops that you will get from a quart. So if if a scoop is a number 6 scoop, it means you will get 6 scoops out of a 32 ounce. And when we're talking about ounces here, I'm talking fluid ounce. So 32 fluid ounces. So some tips: a quart is actually a fluid ounce, which means it's a volume measure. So think back to our review earlier this semester and keep in mind things like 1 quart equals 32 fluid ounces equals 4 cups. 1 cup equals 8 fluid ounces. So again, to get the scoop size, divide 32 by the scoop number, and this will give you the fluid ounces provided by the scoop. So let me say that again. To get the scoop size, divide 32 by the scoop number, and this will give you the fluid ounces provided by that scoop. Now, you may be thinking, why do I have to know this? If you are planning to study for the RD exam, this could be a potential question on the RD exam. They might give you the scoop size, meaning the number of the scoop, and you would have to figure out what actually how many fluid ounces are in that scoop number. Or you could be given the information in reverse. So this information actually is important to know. All right, so let's just do a little scoop review. So again, the number indicates the number of portions in a 32 ounce quart. So again, 32 fluid ounces. To determine the portion size, keep in mind what a quart represents. A quart is 32 fluid ounces, or 4 8 fluid ounce cups, or 8 4-ounce or fluid cups, or 16 2-ounce quarter cups. So for example, a number 8 scoop means that there are 8 4-ounce portions in the that can be made from that scoop to get us to 32 ounces. A number 4 scoop means that there are 4 8-ounce scoops in that quart, and a number 12 scoop means there are 12 2 2/3 ounce portions in that quart. So let's do a little problem together. So let's calculate the number of portions using a number 10 scoop we can expect from 3 quarts of pudding. So first, think about, again, how many fluid ounces in a quart. And whenever I look at problems like this, I look to make them into a series of steps. So I'm going to show you on the next slide how I've sort of made this into a series of steps. All right, so I like to think of things in terms of steps and the number of steps I need to do to get to my answer. So step 1, how many ounces in a quart? Well, we know that 1 quart equals 32 fluid ounces. Step 2, how many number 10 scoops in a quart? So I know there are 32 ounces in a quart, and I divide that by the number on the scoop, which is 10, and this tells me that there are 10 3.2 ounce portions in that quart. Now, let's take a look at step 3. The question was asking us the total portions in 3 quarts. I know number 10 scoop yields 10 portions per quart. We have 3 quarts, so 3 quarts times 10 portions equals 30 3.2 ounce portions per quart. And that's our answer. All right, and so that brings us to the end of this slide set. So some reflection questions, things to think about. So why is portion control so important? Why is it important to food production? Why is it potentially important to service? And why is it potentially important to food costs? So here's your second extra credit Easter egg or hidden treasure. If you can tell me why uh, portion control is so important to food production, service, and food costs, you will get an extra 1 point for this quiz. So the quiz that's associated with portion control, you can get another point on that quiz. So again, if you can tell me in an email why portion control is so important to food production, service, and food costs, you're going to get an extra point on your quiz. So remember, there are 2 Easter eggs or hidden treasures in this slide set. So you have the ability to get 2 extra credit points. So good luck.